Alright guys, so on April 12th, FNCS Major 2 of this year begins. And in today's video, I want to go over all the different things you guys should actually know to start practicing for FNCS and to eventually qualify. What you guys should try to do is qualify through the opens, quarters, semis, and then finals rounds. Hopefully make it into the heat stages and then get to the grand finals if you guys are able to apply all these tips, and also get extremely lucky with your drop spot and other factors to make it to that level. However, for this video, I'm primarily going over tips that's going to help you out in the first couple of rounds in these sort of different weeks that we have. Let's hop right into it, and I hope you guys stay till the end of this video. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to go over is some general tips. This is going to be kind of a scarce section in which I kind of just go over some basic stuff that everybody should know. The first thing is that you need to land at a drop spot with tons of hard materials. So for the most part on this map, metal isn't really that scarce, so you're able to find it at a bunch of different drop spots. However, if you're landing at a POI in which you know, hey, there's not enough metal here, you should try to find a loot route or a rotation in which you can satisfy your metal for the rest of the game. Brick and wood are fairly easy to get, guys, but metal is really the hardest one to get if you guys are landing at a spot that doesn't have too much. Ideally, try to find a drop spot with metal, but if you have one without metal, just try to find some in the area around yourself. Those are kind of the general tips that I think everybody should follow. Now let's get into the actual new season update and how these tips have changed with the update of the season. So the first thing is going to be mobility. For mobility, guys, obviously they vaulted the crash pad. That actually puts a wrench in a lot of different things because that was the primary mobility item for last season. People would combo that with the Flowberry Fizz item or the Flowberries themselves, and then they would use that to rotate around the map. However, this season, guys, there is the brand new mechanic of the dash feature. Now, the two ways you can get this dash feature is using the dash water or getting the dash medallion at the Grimgate POI. So guys, what's really important is that you're able to get a dash feature in whatever way possible. If you're in the end game and you're in the underworld biome and you can use the dash water itself, use the dash there. That's a really good option and a really easy way to actually rotate throughout that biome. If you have the dash medallion, that's even better. It's really helpful in duos and also really helpful in solos as well, guys. However, for duos, what you guys could do is drop it, rotate out there. Your teammate could run to you, you drop it for your teammate, they rotate again. However you want to use the dash medallion, that's definitely something you can use. On top of that, there's also the speed medallion. The speed medallion just increases your speed, makes you a faster player. So you're going to be moving quicker. That is a mobility item, and I would recommend it if you guys can get it. And then obviously, guys, there is the wings of Icarus. They're risky because you do travel in a fairly straight line at a fairly slow pace. So any player who's able to aim quite well can actually beam you out of the sky. If you guys use them in moderation and in specific ways, I think that they are really good movement items. So just learn how to use them, and I think that it's really smart. My recommendation would be keep going up, down, keep dive bombing, keep doing all these different movements to make sure you don't get beamed. And then of course, guys, the final movement item of the season is going to be stuff like the Flowberries and the Flowberry Fizz. Those things are obviously going to give you the low gravity effect, the speed boost when you guys are sprinting. There is stuff like the slap barrels if you guys want to use that for unlimited sprinting. However, those are the general mobility items for the season. Now guys, the next thing is going to be something that I did mention in the previous season's FNCS video, but this is going to be the fact that heal-offs are important. There's going to be 5 to 10 player final zones in these stacked FNCS lobbies. Storm Sickness is not doing a great job of fixing this meta for heal-offs. So my recommendation is for you guys to load up on a lot of stuff, such as med kits if possible. Chug splashes in this new season are back. Maybe try to get some fish, some floppers. Anything you can really get in order to win heal-offs, I'd recommend you guys carry. Try to focus on not taking too much damage before heal-offs in the final zone. If you do, you're pretty much guaranteed a loss, because people who haven't taken any damage are always going to win the heal off if you've taken damage and you have less meds than them. This isn't really too much of an important factor for those of you unless you're making it to the end game consistently. However, heal offs are crucial if you're looking to win the games and really put yourself out there as one of the better players to qualify for this FNCS. Now guys, let's move on to the section of loadouts. I recently did make a video about different loadouts in the game and which ones I would recommend. So I'd recommend you watch that video, check it out in the top right. Make sure you're choosing the best weapons for the season as well. What I mean by that, guys, is that yes, there's plenty of different options for you guys to choose. You can choose the Hunter's DMR, you can choose the Enforcer AR, you can have the Nemesis AR as well. Find which weapon is the best for you and also which weapon is the best for most people, because oftentimes the weapon that's best for most people in the season is most likely going to be the best one for you. The Siphon Medallion obviously is another medallion you guys can get. It's really good because it gives you Siphon, which is something that a lot of players really need and is really helpful in your fights. And then the Damage Medallion as well, that actually increases your damage and literally makes it easier for you guys to win fights. For a duo, those are both very useful. However, it's not too overpowered, so I think it's a really balanced system of medallions this season. Now guys, I want to get into the format aspect of this FNCS. This FNCS follows the exact same format as the last one. Kills are going to be 2 points. Placement is going to add up to a total of 65 points if you guys win the game. And in terms of what we've learned, guys, this is from me looking at pros that have done very well in the previous FNCS, such as Thomas HD, such as Acorn. Kills are really good off spawn, However, every single pro within the top 50 on both NA in Europe got less than an average of 7 eliminations per game. This is really low historically for FNCS. Placement is the way better solid option for you guys, especially in the opens, quarters, and semis rounds. I'd recommend if you guys do try to get eliminations, do it either for one of two things. Do it for impact frags or storm surge. Obviously, off spawn is a little bit different. You might need to get those eliminations, but don't try to tunnel vision. Don't try to chase kills. You guys can definitely do really well as long as you're playing consistent placement. And that's exactly how I'd recommend you all play. Look for consistent placement throughout these games. Generally, you're going to get a lot more points if you do this than if you guys were to W key. Now guys, you obviously can focus on W keying if you are down on a bunch of points in a certain game and you need to get a game over really quick. You guys can W key a bunch of eliminations in a game, stack up on points, and then do really well. However, my recommendation once again, play placement, and hopefully you guys should qualify as a result. Now guys, the final section of what I think you guys should focus on for FNCS, this is going to involve Storm Surge. Surge is still quite tough. Obviously, there was a format update to the Surge a couple of seasons ago. To be safe, I'd recommend you guys implement these following strategies to actually do well and get enough Storm Surge to survive you guys for the rest of the game. My recommendation is the first thing you guys need to do is tag people right off spawn. I'd recommend you land, get a rifle or DMR, any ranged weapon you possibly can, and try to tag people flying into their drop spot as they land. What this will do is it'll allow you guys to stack up on a bunch of damage really early on, so you guys won't need to worry about it too much during the early mid game and even into the early end game. Run and tag people as you rotate. So this means if you guys are rotating, if you're using any mobility items, if you have any seriously ranged weapons, if you have the Zeus lightning bolt, anything that goes really far and can cause a lot of damage, consider trying to use these things. They're going to be able to get you some damage from a really far range. And as you rotate guys, if you try to tag people, most likely if they're rotating as well guys, it's going to allow you guys to get easy Storm Surge tags. However, this does come with a caveat. Like I said, rotate people if you're rotating and they're also rotating. Don't try to beam people if they're peeking from a box in a based up really good position. It's likely that they'll try to keep keying you and try to keep eliminating you from across the map from a ranged position. Try to focus on tagging other people who are also rotating. And then of course guys, if you need Storm Surge really desperately and you need to get an elimination, if for loot or for whatever other reason, W key intelligently. Don't go for kills in the mid game or the end game unless you have an offensive advantage on health. This means that if you get a beam onto an enemy player, maybe that's a certain time where you guys should go for the elimination. This also means that if you guys have the high ground advantage or any other technical advantage throughout the fight, you guys should go for the elimination then. Basically what I'm trying to say in general guys is make sure you W key intelligently, go for surge intelligently by tagging people as they rotate, tagging people off the drop, and that's the ideal way for you guys to perfect Storm Surge in these opens, quarters, and semis lobbies. But guys, that is my video on the Chapter 5 Season 2 FNCS meta, in my opinion, how you guys can qualify, how you can use all these skills in your practice scrims, your practice rank games, whatever it may be. Let me know if it works for you down in the comments, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.